All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome into Jammin' Sports. We had football this afternoon, and now we're finally getting back to baseball as we're ready to start the American and National League Division Series. These are a best-of-5 series, and as we look at the brackets, let's start with the American League on the left side. The Oakland A's defeated the Red Sox in the wild card 2-0, and the Yankees defeated the Indians in the other wild card 2-0. So the A's and the Yankees advance. One of the American League Division Series will be the Oakland A's and the Kansas City Royals. And the other American League Division Series will be the New York Yankees and the Houston Astros. Now let's go over to the right side of the bracket for the National League. You see that the San Diego Padres beat the Reds 2-0 in the wild card, and the Dodgers beat the Giants 2-1 in the other National League wild card. So the National League Division Series will have the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks in one series. It'll be the San Diego Padres and the Miami/Florida Marlins in the second National League Division Series. So that's what the brackets show right there. The NLDS and the ALDS are all best of 5, best 3 out of 5. We'll be starting things off tonight down in Miami, Florida. Game 1 of the Padres and the Marlins here at Jammin' Sports. And this is the Marlins were in the playoffs last season. It's the first time the Padres have been in the postseason in our sim season history. All right, we're a little bit early. That's okay. We'll go ahead and start early. Just a couple of minutes. It'll be the Padres and the Marlins, Game 1 of the National League Division Series here at Jammin' Sports. Your lineups for today. Jammin' Sports presents Game 1 of the National League Division Series between the San Diego Padres and the Florida Marlins. Live from Joe Robbie Stadium, Miami, Florida. Game 1 of the National League Division Series, Trevor Rogers, the starting pitcher for the Florida Marlins here this afternoon. Game 1 of the best of 5. The winner of this will play the winner of the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, the other National League Division Series for the National League Championship. Leading off, Fernando Tatis, the shortstop for the Padres. And we're underway live from Miami, Florida. The first pitch by Rogers, outside, but it's on the strike zone, strike one. And the count goes to 0-1. Just underway. A day game for a change. I like that. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Count goes to 0-2 to Tatis. And now the 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Struck him out on 3 pitches. 1 down for the Padres here in the top of the first inning. As we watch the pitch. Swung out a bad pitch. Next up, Jackson Morrell. And he's the center fielder for the Padres. That one gets popped away. Foul and strike 1. Top of the first, 1 out, bases empty for the Padres. They swept the Reds 2-0 in the wild card. Here's the 0-1. Fouled it off. Count quickly, 0-2 to Morrell. Games 1 and 2 in Miami. Games 3 and 4 in San Diego. Game 5 back in Miami. Fouls it off. And the count goes to 0-2 to Morrell. Top of the first inning, no score. 2 outs or 1 out, bases empty. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Up high. Count goes to 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on an inside pitch, struck him out. 2 down. 2 down for the Padres as we watch the replay. He swung on an inside pitch. That would have been a ball. And now Sadahara O will come up to bat. The first baseman for the Padres. First pitch in there for a strike. 0-1. 2 outs, bases empty for the Padres here in the top of the first inning. Trevor Rogers on the mound for the Marlins. Here's the 0-1. Popped up in the air. Out to right field. Going back. Rap Dixon makes the play for the final out. At the end of a half inning, no score. Here in the National League Division Series Game 1 here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Starting pitcher Randy Jones for the Padres. It'll be the Marlin half of the first inning. No score. Game 1 of the National League Division Series. Howard Easterling will lead things off. He's the center fielder for the Marlins here this afternoon. Facing Randy Jones. In there for a strike, 0-1. Last season, the Marlins got swept by the Dodgers in the Division Series, 3-0. A ground ball to short, and it's fielded and played by Tatis for the out. Easterling grounds out to short, 1 down. The lineup for the Marlins here today. Next up, the first baseman, John Beckwith. He'll come up next for the Marlins here at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Here's the pitch. Outside. Count goes to 1-0 to Beckwith, the first baseman. Counts 1-0. Randy Jones, the pitch. Fouls it off. They'll even the count at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Bases empty for the Marlins. Here in the bottom of the first inning. Here's the pitch. He rips that one foul down the line. Out of play. And the count goes to 1-2. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Struck him out. 2 down for the Marlins here in the bottom of the first. As Randy Jones mows him down. And now the right fielder for the Marlins, Rap Dixon.
Yep, that ball went out.
Outside the strike zone. Count goes to 1-0. He's one of the Negro League players, Rap Dixon. And now the 1-0 pitch. Down low. Count goes to 2-0 to Dixon.
No strike.
Dixon, the right fielder today for the Marlins. And now the 2-0 pitch. Down low, 3-0. 2 outs, bases empty, but the count's 3-0. And now the 3-0 pitch. In there for a strike. Count goes to 3-1. Misty says hi, everybody. 3-1 pitch. Rips it into right field. Dave Winfield makes the catch for the out. At the end of one, no score with the Marlins and the Padres. Game 1 of the National League Division Series here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the top of the second inning. George Scales will lead things off for the Padres. He's the second baseman. And he'll be facing Trevor Rogers. We're in the top of the second, no score. A ground ball. Third baseman picks it up barehanded. Oh, he's going to be there safe. An infield single for Scales as Edgar Renteria tried to come up and make the play, but to no avail. The leadoff single for the Padres. Now Luke Easter comes up. He's the catcher. In there for a strike, 0-1. Nobody out, runner on first for the Padres now here in the top of the second. George Scales at first base. And now the 0-1 pitch. It's a ball. That'll even the count at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody out. Scales at first. They'll tag up. They throw to first. Scales back in time. Beckwith covering the bag. Game 1 of the NLDS here at Jammin' Sports. And now the 1-1. Big swing and a miss. Count goes to 1-2 to Luke Easter. The count goes to 1-2. One-two pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 1-2 to Luke Easter. One ball, 2 strikes. The pitch. Ripped down the line. That's a base hit. Scales is going to round third. Scales, is he coming home? No, he stands at third. A double for Luke Easter, advancing Scales to third base. And the first 2 batters are aboard for the Padres here in the top of the second. A single followed by a double. And now the Padres have runners at second and third with nobody out. And Phil Nevin comes up, the left fielder, a base hit up the middle. That's going to score 2. It should, coming around. It's a 2 RBI single by Phil Neville. The left fielder, Nevin, hits one right up the gut. That will score both runners from second and third. And the Padres take a 2-0 lead here in the top of the second inning. And now the right fielder, Dave Winfield, comes up. Inside, count goes to 1-0 on Winfield. So the Padres get 2 runs here in the top of the second to take a 2-0 lead. Rogers looks in. And now the 1-0 pitch. Inside, 2-0. There's nobody out here in the top of the second. There's a runner on first base. And now the 2-0 pitch. Fouls. No, it's hit into right field. It's going to be a base hit. 3 consecutive hits for the Padres. Make that 4 consecutive hits. And now there's runners at first and second for the Padres with nobody out, as Winfield hits that one into right field. Dixon threw it in. Still nobody out for the Padres here in the top of the second. They're poised for a big inning if they can't get them out. Next up, Ken Caminiti. He's the DH today. In there for a strike, 0-1. He's either the DH or the third baseman. We'll figure it out later. Counts 0-1 to Caminiti. Down low, 1-1.
1-1.
Nobody out. Runners at first and second for the Padres. They've already scored 2 runs here in the top of the second inning. They take a 2-0 lead on the Marlins. And now the 1-1. Big swing and a miss. Count goes to 1-2 to Caminiti.
2 strikes.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out. Runners at first and second. Struck him out looking for out number 1. First out of the inning. 1 down for the Padres here in the top of the second. Let's watch the pitches. All in the strike zone. And now with 1 out, Adrian Gonzalez comes up. He's the DH today. Caminiti's playing third base. Inside, ball 1, count goes to 1-0. What the Marlins need is a double play here to get out of the inning without giving up any more runs. Just 1 down. And now the 1-0 pitch up high. What's in the strike zone? 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike to Adrian Gonzalez. Big swing and a miss.
1 ball.
Count goes to 1-2. And now the 1-2 pitch. Ground ball, second base. That's Davis. And they turn 2. No, they only get 1. Piper Davis made the play at second base, threw to short, covering the bag. Ramirez. They got the lead batter, or lead runner. Well, they got the runner at first, I should say. Now there's runners at first and third with 2 outs. Fernando Tatis will come up for the Padres with runners on the corners. Tatis, the shortstop. The pitch, popped it up, out into right field. Making the play, Rap Dixon for the final out. But the Padres, they score 2 in the top of the second inning. They take a 2-0 lead in Game 1 of the NLDS here at Jammin' Sports. As we're back here at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, we go to the bottom of the second. Piper Davis will lead things off for the Marlins. The second baseman, facing Randy Jones, is down low. Count goes to 1-0. This was Hard Rock Stadium before they renovated it. Here's the 1-0. Popped up, out of play. Count goes to 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody out, nobody on. Here's the pitch by Jones. Outside, 2-1. And now the 2-1 pitch. In there for a strike, 2-2. And now the 2-2 by Jones. Outside, 3-2. Full count to Piper Davis, the second baseman. 3-2 pitch. Fouls it off. Stays alive. Count remains at 3-2. Padres lead at 2-0 here in the bottom of the second inning. And now the 3-2 to Davis. Fouls it off again. Count remains at 3-2. Three-two pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 3-2. Full count. Here's the pitch. Fouls it off again. Count remains at 3-2. Every now and then we get a day playoff game. It's kind of nice to have a day game. Here's the 3-2. Fly behind, fly ball into left field, and making the play for the Padres is Phil Nevin. 1 down for the Marlins. Here in the bottom of the second. And now the left fielder, Vic Harris, will come up. 1 out, bases empty for the Marlins here in the bottom of the second. Randy Jones, the pitch. A ground ball to second base. Scales picks it up, throws to first for the out. So Harris grounds out to second, where George Scales makes the play. 2 down for the Marlins here in the bottom of the second. And Heavy Johnson, that's his name, Heavy. The catcher will come up. Fouls it off. Count goes to 0-1. 2 outs, bases empty for the Marlins here in the bottom of the second, trailing 2-0. Here's the 0-1. In there for a strike, 0-2. The Marlins won the National League East. The Padres were a wild card. Outside, 1-2. And now the 1-2 pitch in the dirt. And that'll even the count at 2-2 to Heavy Johnson. 2-2 pitch in the dirt, 3-2, full count. And now the 3-2 pitch by Jones. Fouls it off. Count remains at 3-2 to Johnson. And now the 3-2 pitch. Ripped foul down the line. Count remains at 3-2. Long at bat for Johnson here. 3-2 pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 3-2. Three-two pitch. Ripped right to Scales at second, makes the play for the out. At the end of 2 complete, the Padres lead at 2-0. National League Division Series Game 1 here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the top of the third here in Game 1. Padres lead at 2-0. Leading things off for the Padres is Jackson Merrill, the center fielder. First pitch in there for a strike, 0-1. Still on the mound for the Marlins is Trevor Rogers. Here's the next pitch. Popped up in the air. Out to shallow left. The shortstop will get under it. And that's Ramirez and makes the play. Hanley Ramirez, the shortstop, makes the play for the out. So Merrill pops out to short. 1 down for the Padres here in the top of the third. First baseman Sadahara O will come up. Facing Rogers. 1 out, bases empty. Rips that one right to third, a line out. Third baseman Edgar Renteria catches the ball, plucks it out of the air for out number 2. O lines out to third. And now the second baseman George Scales will come up with 2 outs, bases empty. The pitch by Rogers. Down low, 1-0. One-0 pitch. Fouls it off. Count goes to 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out. Or excuse me, 2 outs, nobody on. Here's the 1-1. Fouls it off. Count goes to 1-2 to Scales. Marlins trying to get a 1-2-3 inning here in the top of the third. Here's the pitch. Outside, 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Scales. 2 outs, bases empty. 2-2 pitch. Popped it up, down the right field line, out of play. Count remains at 2-2. 2-2 pitch. Up high, 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out, nobody on. Three-two pitch. Ripped foul down the third base line. Count remains at 3-2 to Scales. This is going to be a tough out. Now 3-2 pitch. A ground ball right to first. Beckwith will take it himself, and that'll end the inning. At the end of 2.5, Padres lead it 2-0. National League Division Series Game 1 here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the bottom of the third inning. Derek Lee will lead things off for the Marlins. He's the DH today, facing Randy Jones. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike, 0-1. Padres lead the Marlins here in Game 1, 2-0. It's a best of 5, whoever wins 3 games first. Here's the 0-1. Outside, ball 1. Count evens up at 1-1. And now the 1-1 pitch. Up high, 2-1 to Lee.
2 balls, 1 strike.
And now the 2-1 pitch. Outside, 3-1. Joe Robbie Stadium, Miami, Florida. 3-1 pitch. Fouls it off. Full count now, 3-2 to Lee. Three-two pitch. Inside. Ball four. A leadoff walk for the Marlins here in the bottom of the third inning. They have a man on base with nobody out. Hanley Ramirez comes up next. He's the shortstop. He fouls that one off. Strike one. Count goes to 0-1. And now the 0-1 pitch. They throw to first. Oh, he's safe. They almost got him. Count remains at 0-1 to Ramirez. 0-1 pitch. Rips it foul down the first base line. Count goes to 0-2. Jones looks over to first. And now the 0-2 pitch. He went around, struck him out. One down from the Marlins here in the bottom of the third.
Batting ninth, the third baseman.
And now the third baseman, Edgar Renteria, will come up. There goes the runner, and he's safe. Derek Lee steals second base. The pitch was a strike. The count goes to 0-1 to Renteria. But Derek Lee is now at second base. The Marlins with a runner in scoring position with 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Renteria at the plate. The count's 0-1. Just 1 out. One runner on second. Inside, they'll even the count at 1-1 to Renteria. 1-1 pitch. In there for a strike. Count goes to 1-2. One-two pitch. Right to Scales. They'll get the runner or the batter for the force out. That'll be a sacrifice. Lee moves over to third. 2 down for the Marlins now, the bottom of the third. And Howard Easterling comes up, the center fielder, facing Randy Jones. 2 outs, runner on third. Down low. Ball 1, count goes to 1-0. And now the 1-0 pitch. Outside, 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes. 2 outs, runner on third. And that's ripped down the first base line, foul. And the count goes to 2-1. Marlins trying to get something going here in the bottom of the third, down 2-0. 2-1 pitch. Ripped into left center field. And that's a home run. A 2-run shot by Howard Easterling. And the Marlins have tied it up here in the bottom of the third inning. Over the left center field wall. A 2-run blast by Easterling. Let's watch this one again. He got a hold of this one. Ripped it right over the seats. Into the second deck there. 2-2 is our score. And now John Beckwith, the first baseman, comes up. In there for a strike, 0-1. So we're tied at 2 here in the bottom of the third. Padres and Marlins. Game 1 of the National League Division Series. 0-1 pitch by Jones. Fouls it off, 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes to Beckwith. Here's the pitch. Inside, count goes to 1-2. Two outs, bases empty. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Pops it up. First baseman O comes over and makes the play for the final out. But the Marlins off a Howard Easterling, a 2-run blast, and the Marlins have tied the game up at 2 here at the end of 3. National League Division Series Game 1 here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the top of the 4th. Luke Easter, the catcher for the Padres, will come up in a tie ball game facing Trevor Rogers. Down low, ball 1. Count goes to 1-0. One 1-0 pitch. Big rip and a missed. 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Luke Easter, the catcher. Nobody out, nobody on. Here, top of the 4th. Here's the pitch. Down low, 2-1. Two-one pitch by Rogers. He swung at a bad pitch, and the count goes to 2-2. And now the 2-2 pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 2-2 to Luke Easter. Two-two pitch. Up high. Full count, 3-2 to Easter, the lead batter of the inning for the Padres. 3-2 pitch. He fouls it off into the first base stands. Count remains at 3-2, or third base stands. 3-2 pitch. Down the line, left field, the hooking foul. Count remains at 3-2. And now the 3-2 pitch. Low and outside. It's going to be a walk, a leadoff walk for the Padres here in the top of the 4th. So Luke Easter's aboard, and now Phil Nevin will come up, the left fielder. Nobody out, runner on first for the Padres here in the top of the 4th. They throw to first, but Easter's back in time. Meanwhile, Nevin awaiting his first pitch. And it's low, and Easter stays at first. It'll be a ball. Count goes to 1-0. Nice play by Johnson, keeping the ball in front of him. And now the 1-0 pitch. Up high, 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes to Nevin. Nobody out, runner on first. 2-0 pitch. Ground ball, shortstop, flips to second for 1. They throw to first. They get the double play. Hanley Ramirez starts the double play, flips it to Davis at second, who throws down to Beckwith at first. The old 6-4-3 double play for the Marlins. 2 down for the Padres. Winfield, the right fielder, up. Inside, ball 1. So the Padres hit into a ground ball. 2 down, bases empty for San Diego here in the top of the 4th. Right fielder Winfield is up. The count's 1-0. Here's the pitch. Inside, 2-0. And now the 2-0 pitch. Outside, 3-0 to Winfield. And now the 3-0 pitch. Ground ball. Right back to Rogers. He'll throw to first for the out. At the end of 3.5, we're tied at 2. National League Division Series Game 1 here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Right fielder Rap Dixon will lead things off for the Marlins, facing Randy Jones. We're tied at 2. The pitch to Dixon. Big swing and a miss. Strike 1. Count goes to 0-1. And now the 0-1 pitch. Ground ball right to Scales at second. He'll throw to first for the out. 1 down for the Marlins here in the bottom of the 4th. George Scales making the play at second. And now Piper Davis will come up, the second baseman for the Marlins. 1 out, bases empty. The pitch by Jones. Down low and inside, 1-0. One out, bases empty. The pitch by Jones.
That's ball 2.
Ball 2 was up high. Jones didn't like that call. The count's 2-0 to Piper Davis. And now the 2-0 pitch. Down low, 3-0. Jones still unhappy on the mound. 3 balls, no strikes to Piper Davis. 1 out, bases empty. And now the 3-0 pitch. Down low, ball 4 on 4 pitches. It'll be a 1 out walk. So Davis at first, and now Vic Harris comes up, the left fielder. 1 out, runner on first. The pitch. Outside, ball 1. Count goes to 1-0. 5 straight balls thrown by Jones. Outside, ball 2. That's 6 straight balls. Count goes to 2-0. They throw to first. Piper Davis back in time. Count remains at 2-0 to Vic Harris. 2-0 pitch. Outside, 3-0. That is 7 straight balls thrown by Randy Jones. He's about to walk another batter. 3-0 to count to Harris. And now the pitch. Up high, ball 4. 8 straight balls thrown. 2 consecutive walks. And now the Marlins have runners at first and second, 1 out. And the catcher, Heavy Johnson, comes up. Just 1 out. Here's the pitch. Ripped down the line to third. They'll try to get 2. There's 1. They only get 1. Oh, they get both. It was a force out at third. That's a double play. They end the inning. At the end of 4, we're tied at 2 here at Jammin' Sports. Ken Caminiti, the third baseman, will lead things off for the Padres here in the top of the 5th. Game 1 of the National League Division Series here at Jammin' Sports. We're tied at 2, Padres and Marlins. Rogers on the mound.
No, that's low.
It's low, ball 1. Count goes to 1-0. 1-0 pitch. Up high, 2-0. Both pitchers having a hard time finding the strike zone. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Strike 1. Count goes to 2-1 to Ken Caminiti, the third baseman for the Padres. In there for a strike. Shoulder high, 2-2. 2-2 pitch. Inside, and he swung at it. He'll strike out. 1 down for the Padres here in the top of the 5th. Adrian Gonzalez comes up next. He's the DH. The pitch. Down low, outside, 1-0. 1 out, bases empty for the Padres here in the top of the 5th. Here's the 1-0. In there for a strike, 1-1. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out, bases empty. And now the 1-1 pitch. Ripped down the line, but out of play down the right field line. The count goes to 1-2 to Gonzalez. And now the 1-2 pitch. Fouls it off. The count remains at 1-2. One-two pitch. Pops it up down the line. Out of play down the left field line into the stands. Count remains at 1-2 to Adrian Gonzalez. 1 out, bases empty. Here's the pitch. Outside. Count evens up at 2-2. 2-2 pitch. Ripped past the third baseman. A base hit in the left field. Tracking it down is Harris. He'll throw it in. And Gonzalez, a one-out single in the left field. So the Padres get a man aboard with one out here in the top of the fifth. Let's watch this one again. Well hit by Adrian Gonzalez into left field. Past the outstretched arms of Edgar Renteria at third. Fernando Tatis Jr., the shortstop, comes up. One out, runner on first.
Ball, that's outside.
Outside, count goes to 1-0. Marlins Padres tied at 2 here in the top of the fifth. 1-0 pitch in there for a strike, 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Runner on first. Here's the 1-1. Ripped right to Renteria. He'll turn 2. There's 1 and 2. They get the double play. That'll end the inning. At the end of 4.5, we're tied at 2 with the Padres and Marlins. Game 1 of the National League Division Series here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The designated hitter, Derek Lee, will lead things off for the Marlins, facing Randy Jones. Here's the pitch.
Nope.
Inside, 1-0. And now the 1-0 pitch. In there for a strike, 1-1. And now the 1-1 pitch. Ripped right to short. Tatis makes the play for the out. Derek Lee grounds out to short, 1 down for the Marlins here in the bottom of the 5th. Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami is where we are. Game 1 of the National League Division Series. Hanley Ramirez comes up next. He's the shortstop. Pitch is fouled off, and the count goes to 0-1. And now the 0-1 pitch. In there for a strike, 0-2 to Ramirez. 1 out, base is empty. Here's the 0-2. Right up the middle, a base hit. A 1-out single for Hanley Ramirez. The Marlins have a runner aboard with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th in a tie ball game. And now the third baseman, Edgar Renteria, comes up. Down low, count goes to 1-0. Misty has said goodnight at 6:39 Central Time. They throw to first, and Hanley Ramirez is back in time. The count's 1-0 to Renteria. The 1-0 pitch fouls it off. Count goes to 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. Here's the 1-1. A ground ball to short. Tatis will throw to first. They'll get the batter. It'll be a sacrifice. That moves the runner over to second. 2 down for the Marlins, and now Howard Easterling comes up, the center fielder. He had a home run the last time he came up. A 2-run shot. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike, 0-1. And now the 0-1 pitch. Ripped down the right field line, out of play. And the count goes to 0-2. 2 outs, runner on second. A base hit would score him. Low and outside, count goes to 1-2 to Easterling. 1-2 pitch. Popped up, and Tatis makes the play in shallow left for out number 3. At the end of 5 complete, we're tied at 2. Game 1 of the National League Division Series here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the top of the 6th. Jackson Merrill will lead things off for the Padres, the center fielder. We're tied at 2 here in Game 1. Rogers still on the mound. Here's the pitch. Big swing and a miss, strike 1. And the count goes to 0-1. Alfonseca and Gregg warming up with the bullpen for the Marlins. The 0-1 pitch to Merrill. Fouls it off. Count goes to 0-2. Nobody out, nobody on for the Padres here in the top of the 6th. We're tied at 2. 0-2 pitch. Rips it out into left or right field. Making the play, Rap Dixon for out number 1. So Merrill flies out to right, 1 down for the Padres here in the top of the 6th. First baseman Sadaharu O comes up, the Japanese import. Here's the pitch. Down low, ball 1. Count goes to 1-0. Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami is where we are. Game 1 of the National League Division Series. And now the 1-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss. That'll even the count at 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. Here's the 1-1. High in the air, out to center field. Easterling gets under it and makes the play for out number 2. 2 down for the Padres here on the top of the 6th as O flies out to center.
Number 7.
And now George Scales, the second baseman, comes up. 2 outs, bases empty for the Padres here on the top of the 6th. The pitch by Rogers.
Nope. Ball 1.
Up high, 1-0.
Count 1-0.
And now the 1-0 pitch by Rogers. Fouled off. Evens the count at 1-1. One pitch. Big swing and a miss. 1-2 to Scales.
2 strikes.
And now the 1-2 pitch. Outside, just missed the corner. Count goes to 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases empty. 2-2 pitch. High in the air. Out to right center field. Easterling comes over and makes the play for the final out. At the end of 5.5, we're still tied at 2. The National League Division Series, Game 1 here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the bottom of the 6th. First baseman John Beckwith will lead things off for the Marlins. Randy Jones still on the mound. Down low, 1-0. And now the 1-0 pitch. Outside, 2-0.
2 balls, no strikes.
And now the 2-0 pitch. Fouls it off. Count goes to 2-1 to John Beckwith. Two-one pitch. Beckwith, a base hit in the left field, a leadoff single for the Marlins here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Slaps that one by the third baseman, Caminiti. And now the right fielder, Rap Dixon, will come up. Nobody out, runner on first. That pitch out, but Beckwith doesn't take the bait, and the count goes to 1-0. Dixon returns to the plate. The count's 1-0. The pitch by Jones, and that's slapped down the line, foul. And the count goes to 1-1. The 1-1 pitch, another pitch out, but Beckwith doesn't take the bait. And the count goes to 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike, nobody out, runner on first. Beckwith at first base. Dixon at the plate. Here's the 2-1. Outside, 3-1. Three and 1 to Dixon. 3-1 pitch. Down low, ball 4. And now the Marlins have runners at first and second with nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Piper Davis comes up next, the second baseman. The pitch by Jones. And Davis rips one down the line, but foul. And the count goes to 0-1. Nobody out for the Marlins here in the bottom of the sixth with runners at first and second. 0-1 pitch. Inside, 1-1. Williams and Bell warming up for the bullpen for the Padres. The count's at 1-1. The pitch. Fouls it off. Count goes to 1-2. One-two pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 1-2. Piper Davis, the second baseman, staying alive at the plate. And now the 1-2 pitch by Jones. A broken bat. It pops up. Infield fly rule is on. The batter's out. The runners hold. One down for the Marlins as Davis pops out to first. O makes the play. And now Vic Harris comes up. He's the left fielder for the Marlins. One out, runners at first and second. We're tied at 2 here in the bottom of the sixth. Here's the pitch.
Ball.
Outside, 1-0.
Count 1-0.
Marlins tried to take the lead here in game 1. 1-0 pitch. In there for a strike. Count goes to 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Ground ball right to Tatis. They get one. They turn 2. They get the double play. And that'll end the inning. At the end of 6 complete, we're tied at 2. Game 1 of the National League Division Series here at Jammin' Sports. New pitcher for the Marlins, Antonio Alfonseca, will come on.
Number 57.
We go to the top of the 7th, tied at 2. The catcher, Luke Easter, will lead things off for the Padres. Alfonseca, his first pitch.
Nope, at the ball.
Down low, ball 1. Count goes to 1-0.
Ball 1, no strike.
And now the 1-0 pitch.
Ball 2.
Ball 2 is too low.
2-0.
Count goes to 2-0 to Luke Easter. He'll step in. We're tied at 2 here in the top of the 7th. 2-0 pitch. Fouls it off. Count goes to 2-1. Two-one pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 2-2. Two-two pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 2-2 to Luke Easter. And now the 2-2 pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 2-2. Nobody out, nobody on here on the top of the 7th. And now the 2-2 pitch to Easter. Swung and struck him out. One down for the Padres here on the top of the 7th.
Number 23.
That was a sinker right there. He chased a bad pitch. Next up for the Padres, the center fielder, Phil Nevin, or the left fielder, I'm sorry. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike. And the count goes to 0-1. One out, bases empty for the Padres here on the top of the 7th. And now the 0-1 pitch. In there for a strike, 0-2. Nevin back at the plate. Here's the 0-2. Outside, 1-2. One out, bases empty here in the top of the 7th. We're tied at 2. And now the 1-2 pitch. Outside. That'll even the count up at 2-2. And now the 2-2 pitch.
Full count.
Full count. That's inside. 3-2. And now the 3-2 pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 3-2. Phil Nevin, the left fielder, counts 3-2 with 1 out, bases empty. 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. It'll be a 1-out walk for the Padres as Nevin is aboard.
Now batting, number 33.
Right fielder Dave Winfield comes up for the Padres with 1 out and a runner on first to face Antonio Alfonseca. Here's the pitch. Winfield slaps it to third. They'll get 2. There's 1, 2. Edgar Renteria starts the double play, and that'll end the inning. We stay tied at 2 here in Game 1 of the NLDS here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Marlins catcher, Heavy Johnson, will lead off. He'll be facing Randy Jones. Up high, 1-0. We're still tied at 2 here in the bottom of the 7th. The 1-0 pitch. In their first strike, 1-1.
1 ball, 1 strike.
And now the 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss, 1-2.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
And now the 1-2 pitch. Hit high in the air. Merrill gets under it in center and makes the play for out number 1. 1 down for the Marlins here in the bottom of the 7th.
Now batting, the designated hitter.
Jackson Merrill makes the play. The DH now. Derek Lee will come up for the Marlins with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Base is empty. Pitch by Jones down low, 1-0.
Count 1-0.
And now the 1-0 pitch. Ripped into right field. Winfield goes back, and it's off the wall of the extra bases for Lee. He's got himself a 1-out double over Dave Winfield's head in right field. Off the wall, and that'll be a double for Derek Lee. I thought that one was going to be gone. So the Marlins now with 1 out with a runner on second here in the bottom of the 7th inning. We're tied at 2 here in Game 1 of the NLDS. And I think that's it for Jones. He's going to come out. So the Padres are going to have a new pitcher here. Let's see who they bring in. Woody Williams will be the new pitcher for San Diego. He inherits a situation where there's 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th and a runner on second base, Derek Lee. The go-ahead run is at second base. Hanley Ramirez comes up next. He's the shortstop. He rips that one out into center field. Merrill goes back and makes the play. And tagging up and going to third is Lee. He'll stay at third base. And now the Marlins with 2 outs with a runner on third here in the bottom of the 7th. Third baseman Edgar Renteria will come up. If Renteria gets a base hit, the Marlins can take the lead. Big swing and a miss, strike 1. The count goes to 0-1. 0-1 pitch. Up high, but it's in the strike zone. 0-2. And now the 0-2 pitch. Outside, 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, runner on third. That's Derek Lee at third base. In a tie ball game, the 1-2. Up high, that evens the count at 2-2.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Williams didn't like that call, letting the umpire have it. And now the 2-2 pitch. 3-2. It missed the plate. Full count, 3-2 to Edgar Renteria, the third baseman. Three-two pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 3-2. National League Division Series Game 1 here in Miami. 3-2 pitch. Fouls it off down the third base line. Count remains at 3-2 to Renteria. Staying alive at the plate. Runner at third. 3-2 pitch. Struck him out at the end of the inning. The Marlins come up empty at the end of 7 complete. We're tied at 2. National League Division Series Game 1 here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the top of the 8th inning. A.J. Puck will come in. He's the new pitcher for the Marlins. As we go to the top of the 8th inning, tied at 2 in Game 1 of the NLDS. Third baseman Ken Caminiti will lead things off for the Padres here in the top of the 8th inning. Facing Puck. The pitch in there for a strike. 0-1. It's getting to be crunch time. We're in the top of the 8th. We're tied at 2. The 0-1 pitch ripped into left center field. It's off the wall. That'll be extra base. It's at least a double for Caminiti. It's a leadoff double for the Padres here in the top of the 8th. And now the Padres, the go-ahead runs at second base. Well hit, but that's... The Marlins have their own version of the Green Monster here. And now Adrian Gonzalez, the DH, comes up. Nobody out, runner on second. A.J. Puck on the mound. Big swing and a miss, strike one. And the count goes to 0-1. A base hit for the Padres. They can take the lead here in the top of the 8th. Oh, 0-1 pitch. Up high. He swung at it. 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, no outs, runner on second. The pitch by Puck. It's fouled off down the third base line. Count remains at 0-2 to Gonzalez. Oh, 0-2 pitch. Up high, 1-2. Padres still do not have an out yet here in the top of the 8th. Counts 1-2 to Gonzalez. 1-2 pitch. Popped it up, down the line, but it's going to fall foul for strike 2. Actually, the count remains at 1-2. And now the 1-2 pitch in the dirt. That'll even the count at 2-2. Crowd getting restless here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out, runner on second. 2-2 pitch by Puck. Fouls it off. Count remains at 2-2. Adrian Gonzalez, the DH for the Padres. And now the 2-2 pitch. Ripped it past short. They'll throw it home. And they hold up the runner at third. It'll be a single for Gonzalez. Just past the Marlins shortstop, Ramirez. And now the Padres have runners at first and third with nobody out here in the top of the 8th. Shortstop Fernando Tatis will come up. Pops it up into center field on the warning track. Making the play is Easterling, but the Padres are going to tag up. The runner at third will score. Caminiti scores from third, and the Padres take a 3-2 lead on a sac fly here in the top of the 8th. One down. They still have a runner at first. Jackson Merrill, the center fielder, will come up. They throw to first. Gonzalez is back in time. Three to two now. Padres lead. The pitch by Puck. Fouls it off. Count goes to 0-1. Still just one out with a runner on first. 0-1 pitch. There goes the runner down to second. He's safe. Gonzalez safe at second on a stolen base. And now the Padres once again have a runner in scoring position on second base with just one out. The count to Merrill goes to 0-2. 0-2 pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 0-2. And now the 0-2 pitch. Ripped foul down the third base line. Count remains at 0-2. Padres have taken a 3-2 lead here in the top of the 8th inning. 0-2 pitch.
At the ball.
Outside, 1-2.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
We're at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Game 1 of the NLDS. 1-2 pitch to Merrill. Rips it foul down the first base line. Count remains at 1-2. One-two pitch. Struck him out for out number 2. 2 down for the Padres now here in the top of the 8th. And now the first baseman, Sadahara O, will come up. 2 outs, runner on second base. The pitch.
1-0.
Inside, 1-0. Marlins trying to get out of this inning. One 0 pitch. In their first strike, 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs, runner on second base. That's Gonzalez at second. The 1-1 pitch. Popped up, out of play. Count goes to 1-2. And now the 1-2 pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 1-2. A.J. Puck having a time here in the 8th inning. Here's the 1-2. A ground ball up the middle. That's going to be a base hit. That's going to score another run. Gonzalez will come around, and he'll score a 2-out RBI single by Sadahara O. And the Padres take a 4-2 lead here in Game 1. So the Padres scored 2 here in the 8th to go up 4-2. And now we have another pitcher. Kevin Gregg comes in for the Marlins. Puck really messed things up for Miami in that inning. So Kevin Gregg will come on to try to retire the side. Next up, George Scales, the second baseman. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike, 0-1. Padres lead at 4-2 here in the top of the 8th. Game 1 of the NLDS. And now the pitch by Gregg. Outside, 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, runner on first. One pitch. In there for a strike, 1-2. One-two pitch. Up high, 2-2 now to George Scales, the second baseman. 2-2 pitch. Inside. Full count, 3-2. This nightmarish inning won't end for the Marlins. They've already given up 2 runs. 2 outs, runner on first. The count's 3-2 to Scales. There's the pitch. And Scales fouls it off. Stays alive with a 3-2 count. Three-two pitch. Fouls it down the third base line. Count remains at 3-2. Kevin Gregg desperately trying to retire the side. The 3-2. Rips it foul down the first base line. Count remains at 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, a runner on first base. Here's the pitch. Swung and struck him out. At the end of 7.5, the Padres score 2 runs and they take a 4-2 lead here in Game 1 of the NLDS here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Center fielder Howard Easterling comes up. He had a 2-run blast in the 3rd inning. But now the Marlins trail 4-2 here in the bottom of the 8th. Game 1 of a best of 5. Woody Williams still on the mound. It's fouled off. The count goes to 0-1. Oh, 1 pitch.
Ball.
1-1. We'll have an NFL triple header for you tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Here's the 1-1. Fouled it off. Count goes to 1-2. You'll be the Saints Seahawks, Ravens Raiders, and then we'll have the Monday night game, which is the Bills and the Bears. That'll be tomorrow. They pop it up down the third base line, out of play. The count goes to 1-2 to Howard Easterling. This will be our last game of today. We did 4 football games earlier. Here's the 1-2. And that's fouled off. Count goes to 1-2 to Howard Easterling. One-two pitch.
Ball, that's off the plate.
Inside, 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out, nobody on here in the bottom of the 8th. 2-2 pitch. Fouls that one down the line. Count remains at 2-2. Padres lead it 4-2 here in Game 1. 2-2 pitch. Up high. 3-2. Full count. Three-two pitch. Fouls it off. Count remains at 3-2. Long at bat for Howard Easterling, the center fielder for the Marlins. Here's the 3-2. Swung and struck him out for out number 1. 1 down for the Marlins here in the bottom of the 8th. And now we have a new pitcher. Mike Adams comes in for the Padres.
Number 37, Mike Adams.
1 down for the Marlins here in the bottom of the 8th. Base is empty. Padres lead it 4-2. John Beckwith, the first baseman, comes up. And now the pitch by Adams. Outside, 1-0. One-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss. 1-1.
1-1.
1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out, base is empty. The pitch. And that's going to be a blooper out to right field, but Winfield comes over and makes the play.
Now batting, right
Dave Winfield making the out in right field. 2 down for the Marlins. And now the right fielder, Rap Dixon, comes up with 2 outs, bases empty. The pitch by Adams. In there for a strike, 1-1. Two outs, bases empty for the Marlins. 0-1 pitch to Dixon. Fouls that one off. The count's quickly 0-2. 0-2 pitch.
One ball.
Outside, 1-2. And now the 1-2 pitch. Inside, 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Base is empty. 2-2 pitch. Ripped down the first base line. Oh, makes the play. Touches the bag for the out. At the end of 8 complete, we're tied. No, we're not tied. Padres lead at 4-2. We go to the 9th here at Jammin' Sports. National League Division Series Game 1. We go to the 9th inning. Padres lead at 4-2. The catcher, Luke Easter, will lead things off. Kevin Gregg still on the mound for the Marlins. Padres looking for some insurance runs. Luzardo warming up with the bullpen for the Marlins. We're at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. The count's 1-0 to Easter. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Up high, 2-0.
2 balls, no strikes.
Padres trying to take a 1-0 lead in the series. And now the 2-0 pitch.
That's ball 3.
Outside, 3-0.
3-0.
Padres lead at 4-2 here in the top of the 9th. Here in game number 1. Three-0 pitch.
Ball 4.
It's going to be a ball 4 on 4 pitches. Easter gets walked to lead off the 9th inning. And now Phil Nevin, the left fielder, will come up. Nobody out, runner on first. Nevin comes to the plate. The pitch. Fouls it off. 0-1. They throw to first. Not in time. Easter back. Nobody out. The count's 0-1 to Nevin. Runner on first base. That's Easter. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Inside, 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Phil Nevin. One pitch. Swung and a strike. Count goes to 1-2.
2 strikes.
1-2 pitch. Down low, 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Phil Nevin. The 2-2 pitch. Swung and an outside pitch and struck out. 1 down for the Padres here in the top of the 9th. Let's watch that strikeout again. He got him to chase a bad pitch. Way outside. One down for San Diego. Here in the top of the 9th, Dave Winfield, the right fielder, will come up. The pitch.
Nope, outside.
Outside, 1-0. Padres lead it 4-2 here in the top of the 9th here in game 1. 1 out, runner on first. That's Easter, the catcher at first base. There goes the runner down to first, down to second, he's safe. And Easter still second base. The pitch was a strike to Winfield. The count will go to 1-1. But the catcher, Easter, gets the stolen base. And now the Padres have a runner on second with 1 out, and the count's 1-1 to Dave Winfield. 1-1 pitch. Ripped right to third. Renteria will throw to first for the out. 2 down for the Padres. The runner holds at second. 2 down for the Padres. And the third baseman, Ken Caminiti, will come up. 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. Gregg trying to retire the side. The pitch. Fouls it off. Count goes to 0-1. The Marlins are going to have to score at least 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th to keep the game going. And now the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Count goes to 0-2 to Caminiti. 0-2 pitch. Swung and struck him out. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Padres lead at 4-2 here in Game 1 of the NLDS here at Jammin' Sports. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Last chance for the Marlins here in Game 1. Piper Davis, the second baseman, will lead things off, facing Mike Adams. The Marlins need 2 to tie, 3 to win. Ripped to 0 at first, and he'll hit the bag ahead of time. Takes it himself. Davis grounds out to first, 1 down for the Marlins. They're down to the last 2 outs here in Game 1. Vic Harris, the left fielder, will come up. 1 out, base is empty. Facing Adams.
Ball 1.
It's low and inside, 1-0. And now the 1-0 pitch. In their first strike, they'll leave the count at 1-1. Padres trying to take a 1-0 lead in this best of 5. Here's the 1-1. Right up the middle, a base hit by Vic Harris. A 1-out single here in the bottom of the ninth. And now the tying runs at the plate. Heavy Johnson comes up, the catcher. He represents the tying run. Outside, 1-0. Marlins trying to rally here in the ninth. Use the catcher. The count's 1-0. 1 out, runner on first. Vic Harris at first base. And now the 1-0 pitch. Fouls that one off. They'll even the count at 1-1. One pitch. Big swing and a miss. Count goes to 1-2. A double play ends the game for the Padres. 1 out, runner on first. And now the 1-2 pitch to Johnson. Down low, 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, runner on first base. And now the 2-2 pitch by Mike Adams. Inside, full count, 3-2. Now the 3-2 pitch. Struck him out looking for out number 2. 2 down for the Marlins here at the bottom of the ninth. And Johnson's not happy with that call, but I think it was a good pitch. And now the DH, Derek Lee, will come up with 2 outs and a runner on first. Derek Lee represents the tying run. Padres just need 1 more out in their first strike, 0-1. Marlins down to the last out here in Game 1. Lee at the plate. Fouls it off, and the count goes to 0-2. They're down to the last strike. Oh-2 pitch. Swung and struck him out. And the Padres win Game 1. They take a 1-0 lead in the series, winning by a score of 4-2. Your final score, the Padres 4, the Marlins 2, as the Padres take a 1-0 lead in this best of 5. Once again, your final score, the Padres win it 4-2. They take a 1-0 lead in this best of 5. We'll be on tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Eastern, with an NFL doubleheader. Make it a triple header. We'll see you then. Good night, everybody.